Good evening. On the World News tonight from BGI Television, first day headlines. Tinubu summons Interior Minister Tunji-Ojo. Tinubu orders probe into how 2 trillion naira poverty relief fund was spent in 4 years. Besides 585 million naira, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs Betta Edu in fresh scandal as document reveals. Documents counter Interior Minister's claim on companies' involvement in 438 million naira humanitarian ministry contracts. FG stopped 35,000 naira wage increase after 1 month, says TUC. On sport, Osimhen's dreams of AFCON title to break Eagles' 11-year jinx. I am Morire Rabila Lawal, the news in detail. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has summoned the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, to the presidential villa. The summon follows the controversy that has hit the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and the award of a consultancy contract to the tune of 438 million naira for the National Social Register to New Planet Project Limited, a company he is a beneficial owner. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed a comprehensive investigation into the financial transaction in the management of the 2 trillion naira poverty relief funds allocated to the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation over the past 4 years. The probe comes amid allegations of misappropriation of 585 million naira in the ministry, which was said to be transferred to a private account. The President Directive, which was made known on Monday, January 8, aims to ensure transparency and accountability. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has been tasked with conducting a thorough probe into all financial transactions involving the ministry. As part of the investigation, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, has been suspended by President Tinubu from her position with immediate effect. The President has also directed the EFCC to summon Betta Edu for questioning and to take further steps to commence a system-wide investigation into the alleged large-scale corruption and treasury looting pervading the ministry. Betta Edu is now expected to report, as at the time of filing this report, she is already at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja. While the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, is still grappling with a legal diversion of 585 million naira to private account, a fresh scandal of approval for flight as ticket and airport taxi to non-existing Kogi Airport has emerged in the ministry. It's public knowledge that Kogi State has no airports. The nearest airport to it is in Akure, the Ondo State capital, which is about 5 hours by road. Abuja to Lokoja is about 3 hours by road, so people often travel from Abuja to Kogi by road. Other airports around Kogi are in Owerri, Imo State, Enugu State, and Asaba Delta State, but they are all farther than Akure from Lokoja. A document published showed that in November 2023, Edu approved funds for flight tickets and airport taxes for the minister's teams from Abuja to Kogi State, even though the latter has no airport. The document further revealed how the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) moved 226 million naira to Kogi State, Bayelsa, and Imo State through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation ahead of the November 11, 2023 governorship election. Moving on to the next story. Claims by the Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, that he resigned the ownership of New Planet Project Limited, one of the companies that got consultancy jobs from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs under the suspended Minister, Betta Edu. Tunji-Ojo, while featuring on the program Evening, had denied being in control of the company since he resigned as a director in 2019. The information had reported that the company owned by Tunji-Ojo allegedly received 438 million naira as consultancy fees from the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Dr. Betta Edu. The company was one of the consultants awarded contract worth 3 billion naira of the National Social Register contract. The Social Register was created for cash transfers and other social investment programs. While admitting to be a shareholder in the company, the former member of the House of Representatives distanced himself from anything related to the company. Findings show, however, reveal that Mr. Tunji-Ojo is a person with significant control as at the 14th of November 2023 and a major shareholder in the company according to the Corporate Affairs Commission CAC. The Trade Union Congress TUC has accused the federal government of not adhering to its agreement to pay a 6-month wage award to workers, alleging it stopped after the first month. TUC President Festus Osifo made the allegations in an interview. The 35,000 naira minimum wage increase for all Treasury-paid federal government workers for 6 months was agreed upon following consultations with the federal government delegation that met with the leadership of the TUC and the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC and Trade Union Congress on Sunday, October 1st, 2023. The wage increase was aimed at mitigating the resulting economic hardship after the removal of fuel subsidies. However, according to Osifo, the government abruptly ceased payment after the first payment, leaving workers in the lurch. Osifo slammed the government's lack of commitment to its agreement, stating if you have signed an agreement and you are finding it difficult to implement, what you do normally is for you to call the other party and you sit down together. But we don't even think that is a challenge. We don't think that is the problem. Today, there are trillions of nairas that shows that even if the value of this money has plummeted, even if the value has gone down, but the physical note is there, the volume has actually gone up. Moving on to the next story. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, has commended the release of the Niger Republic former President Mohamed Bazoum's wife and son from the house arrest by the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland, the ruling military junta in the country. A statement issued on Tuesday by the minister's media aide Al-Qasim Abdelkader indicted that Tuga, who is also the chairperson of the Mediation and Security Council, said it is a logical step to bring in normalcy back to the country and the region in general. The minister called on the junta led by General Abdurrahmani Siani to extend the release of Mohamed Bazoum from custody and allow him flight to a third country as a step towards further talks on lifting sanctions. He also urged the junta to initiate the transition to constitutional rule in the interest of peace and stability in Niger as well as the entire region. Bazoum and some members of his family had been under military custody since the July coup that ousted him from office. Moving to the next story, the Ondo State government has fixed February 23rd and 24th for the burial of the late governor of the state, Rotimi Akeredolu. As reported, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa fixed the date on Monday after a state cabinet meeting, which did not go without ripples over the exclusion of certain names from the burial planning committee. Information learned that the secretary to the state government, SSG, Princess Oladoni Odu, filmed that her name was not included in the committee for the burial ceremony for the late former governor. The burial has been fixed between February 23rd and 24th. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who also doubled as the chairman of the committee, made the announcement on Monday. A source at the meeting said, "You are watching the world news from BGI television. Next to come." Grammy-nominated Afrobeat singer Seun Kuti has called on both the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and the federal government to implement significant measures against the military in order to prevent a coup d'etat. In response to insult directed to the governor by certain unidentified soldiers due to the arrest of one of their comrades for a traffic violation, the outspoken singer expressed his concerns. He emphasized that failure to curb the military excesses would result not only in the suffering of civilians but also of politicians. Kuti additionally ridiculed the soldiers for their threat to humiliate social media influencer Very Dark Man for supporting Sanwo-Olu's actions. He remarked that the military tends to bully civilians while avoiding confrontations with terrorists. Speaking during an Instagram live session with friends, the singer said, "I didn't want to speak on this very matter, but when I opened my Instagram this morning, I saw a video of one of the unruly soldiers threatening to humiliate Very Dark Man for making comments on Sanwo-Olu's arrest of one of their colleagues. Imagine in a free country. Still within Lagos, after a 12-day search for a female passenger, Mrs. Beatrice Akinola, who was aboard a bus alongside 21 other passengers when it crashed outside a filling station on December 28, 2023, the husband's family is seeking help to locate the whereabouts of the Lagos-based wife. Information learned that on Monday that the accident was said to have occurred around a few-minute drive to Ogeri Remo on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Correspondent gathered that the search for Omoyeni hit the rock following a fortnight search after the bus she boarded was said to have somersaulted several times before going up in flames. Lamenting that their efforts are becoming a wild goose chase, the Badagry-based family urged the state government agencies to help in search for the women. The FRSC officers told them that they checked bodies around Ring Road at Dioyo Hospital. Out of the 5 bodies they saw, there were children and 2 others were adults. They said the driver and 1 other person were the 2 adults. Moving on to the foreign story. French leader Emmanuel Macron on Tuesday picked Gabriel Attal as prime minister to give new momentum to his presidency, with the 34-year-old becoming France's youngest and first openly gay head of government. Following days of speculation, Macron late Monday accepted the resignation of Elizabeth Borne, 62, who stepped down along with the rest of the government after serving less than 2 years in office. The overall comes ahead of the Olympic Games in Paris and European Parliament elections this summer, where Macron's centrist forces risk defeat at the hands of the far-right under Marine Le Pen. A wider cabinet reshuffle is expected this week as Macron seeks to shape his team for the final 3 years of his presidency. The President of the Republic appointed Mr. Gabriel Attal Prime Minister and tasked him with forming a government, a presidential statement said. Finally, sports. Newly crowned African Player of the Year, Victor Osimhen, is a star on a mission. He wants to transform the suffering of Nigerian supporters into joy with an African Cup of Nations title. The Napoli forward topped the African poll last month to finish ahead of Egyptian Mohamed Salah and Moroccan Achraf Hakimi and become the first Nigerian winner since Nwankwo Kanu did in 1999. It was a reward for helping his club to a first-time Italian Serie A title in 33 years and also scoring consistently for the Super Eagles. But amid the success, there was also sadness for the 24-year-old who sold newspapers and bottles of water in the bustling street of Lagos as a teenager to eke out a living. The day that has haunted Osimhen for a long time was March 29, 2022 at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in the Nigerian capital, Abuja. Earlier, Nigeria traveled to long-time regional rivals Ghana and drew 0-0 in the first of 2 matches to decide whether the Black Stars or Super Eagles would qualify for the 2022 World Cup. With the sports story, we've come to the end of today's world news. Before we go, some headlines. Tinubu summons Interior Minister Tunji-Ojo. Tinubu also orders probe into how 2 trillion naira poverty relief fund was spent in 4 years. Besides 585 million naira, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs Betta Edu in fresh scandal as document reveals. Document counter Interior Minister's claim on companies' involvement in 438 million naira humanitarian ministry contracts. We also brought to you FG stopped 35,000 naira minimum wage in a month, says TUC. On sport, Osimhen dreams of African title to break Eagles' 11-year jinx. For updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is Baba Bagide Imo Television. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagide Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and function, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Babila Lawal. Good evening.